show at the end of season 2, which is really scary, but that's something we always try to do, is just keep things fresh and scary, and you never know what's going to happen. We weren't really sure what we were going to do with the two of them. Definitely no romance. They're more like brother and sister, but we found that once we moved them into the new spot, you can't have them be too successful, otherwise there's no show. They're going to go through their own trials and tribulations. David's known Joe for many, many years. They went back to college together, and we just thought it'd just be a really fun foil for Ian.
I mean, pretty much everyone from Mythic Quest is now in a completely different role. Everyone's been uprooted, everyone's got a completely new challenge to deal with. The chaos is still the same, but we're finding every character in a completely different position. I think that Poppy and Ian have an amazing will they, won't they going, but it's like, will they, won't they figure out how to work healthily together rather than will they, won't they kiss? I mean, it was kind of an incredible space to work in. Weird, for sure. I can't wait to see what people think. Like, completely different from the Mythic Quest set, but the GrimPop set is like a work of art.
So yeah, I play Brad Bakshi. He is mischievous. He's, I guess, the villain in the office. I actually consider him the hero. He is the head of monetization in season 1. Season 2, he has a little bit of a slide into evil, ends up in prison, but he did it for street cred, and now he's back out. He is returning to Mythic Quest. He's on a redemption tour. He's now the janitor, and he's had time to plot. The nice thing about a season 3 is that we all know our characters and have had time to really dig into them, and our show is stretched. Like, we've had some standalone episodes that are really dramatic and special.
No, season 3, how do we get here? I don't know. They just keep bringing us back. We have a show about a workplace comedy set in the video game space, which there's just not another show, I think, that tackles that area, and it seems like a show that generates specific stories, but also universal stories. So this season, David's on his own. He was boned last season by Ian and Poppy, and this year he's no longer under their thumb, and he's thriving. We meet him back in the top of the 3rd season. He's thriving. So we get to see some of the new scenarios he steps into, including a movie that they're making of the video game, and he's going to be the EP, so he's excited to shove it in Ian's face. David is used to dealing with huge egos, usually Ian and Poppy's, but now it's Ian and Joe Manganiello's for this season. Which together, both Rob and Joe, really, they just would go off script in some sort of aggro bro improvs that were a little too eerily natural. It was a lot of fun to watch.
Well, in season 1, we really established that Joe has this obsession and unhealthy drive towards power. And then in season 2, we watched that addiction turn evil until she basically crashes and burns. And in season 3, we see what happens when she's trying to be more reformed. This season, we see a softer side of Joe. We see what happens when she's told she can take an afternoon off to hang out with her friends and she doesn't really have any. And so we see what it's like for her to try to bond with the other women in the show, which is, messy, to say the least. They go out to brunch, which is a place in which she does not really fit in, and so then she takes them to a place where she feels more comfortable bonding, which is like a demolition site, and that was a really, really fun episode to shoot. I love the fact that she's kind of like these extremes. There's nothing about her that's in the middle, a gray area. It's like she's either this sweet, kind of like schoolgirl, or just like a raging monster.
I played Joe Manganiello on Mythic Quest. What's interesting is that, David Hornsby and I went to Carnegie Mellon together. So he knows me pretty well. And also, when you're talking about a show that's about video gaming and kind of that whole world, I exist probably because of my relationship to Dungeons & Dragons over the years. So it's fun. It's a really fun part. I can't tell you everything because there's big surprises, but I will tell you that there is a showdown between me and Rob's character, Ian.
Rachel is having a little bit of an existential crisis. I don't want to spoil anything, but one of our characters sort of sees a vulnerability in her that he thinks he might be able to exploit. So I think that's kind of where it goes. We just have the nicest and most gracious ensemble. I really love all of our cast, and our crew is amazing.
What I really love about this season is Dana's really coming into her own and kind of betting on herself a little bit. She was set up to be this kind, innocent, sweet, unassuming character, but she's also a boss. She's black, she's queer, young, and she's the new generation who's willing to put in that work and take what she's learned from her bosses and put her own twist on it. She's the best of both worlds between Ian and Poppy. She can do it all.